There lives an ancient country under the sun. A country that stretched from sea to sea, but was invaded and diminished down to a bundle. A country known for its holy land and justice, whose fate was cruel and unfair. A country where they spoke the word of God and were the first to adopt Christianity as a state religion. This country is known as Armenia. Stories about queens and princesses have been preserved on the pages of Armenian history. They were recognized rulers of their country, devoted wives of kings, courageous generals, wise patrons, and skillful architects. It is important to note that while it was the king who bestowed upon his queen these rights, he also honored and supported her decisions throughout her reign. The bearers of royal titles, the king and queen, were considered God's chosen ones on earth. The girl who was born into a royal family, or the one who married the king, was of divine origin. The coronated were consecrated, equated with the gods, or descended from them. In 800 BC, in the kingdom of Van, King Menwa and Queen Teriria were known for hosting elaborate noble feasts devoted to the gods, which later became a tradition for future generations. Queen Teriria was a lover of wine, flora, and spices, and was known for taking part in the royal kitchen. She decided which spices would complement the dishes, and selected special flower offerings as the mixture for wine. She would pay particular attention to table setting and decor, and ensured that her royal dinnerware was magnificent, and the table settings were lavishly made from precious metals. According to Yerishe, a famous historian and young pupil of Mesrop Mashtots, all ladies of Armenian nobility had a special right to organize and coordinate a ritual ceremony dinner called the Bread of the Elders. This special gathering was attended by high-ranking nobility, and it was during this solemn dinner that the noble class shone in all its splendor. History has told us that such events not only helped forge and maintain relations between nobles, but the greatest conspiracies and crimes were committed during these dinners, where loyalty to the crown was also tested. Throughout the 7-course dinner, and despite having royal servants, Queen Teriria was noted to have been extremely hospitable and caring, striding around her noble table to ensure all was plentiful. Historians have noted that the culture of walking around the table and asking guests if anyone needs anything was something rare that only Armenian queens and noblewomen would do at that time in history. Some of these behaviors have somehow passed down through time. perhaps contributing to the renowned Armenian hospitality that persists to this day. The story of King Artashes and Princess Tatenik is a beautiful episode in Armenian lore, presented to us by prominent 5th century Armenian historian Movses Khorenatsi. The description of their royal love and lavish wedding ceremony is revealed in just a few lines. The wedding feast was a blessed day of rejoicing in the Armenian kingdom. If the groom was the king or the prince, the entire country was invited to attend. Royal emissaries were sent to different parts of the country well in advance, bringing the good news to old and young, peasant and noble. When the groom carried a scepter of power and wore an anointed crown, the feast transformed into a sacred ritual. Guests toast with blood-colored drinks that help commoners momentarily forget their ordinary lives, while the noble class become temporarily oblivious to the threat of enemies attacking the country. The youth dance, musicians perform songs of travelers, and everyday worries are set aside to make cherished memories of the bride crowned as an Armenian queen. Throughout Armenian history, many queens were brave women who were not only loving mothers and wives, but were courageous warriors who would set aside their royal crowns and intricate gowns to go to battle and defend their homeland. One of the most famous examples of such bravery is Queen Paranzem. Born to a noble family in Sunik, she was known for her intelligence, honor, and beauty. In the year 368, after Persian King Shapur II imprisoned the king, he thought it would be easy to conquer the Artagerts fortress without its king at the throne. However, he underestimated the power and courage of the queen. Queen Paranzem gathered her royal army of 11,000 men and 6,000 women, who daringly fought the Persian army of 50,000. Successfully defending her castle from Persian invasion for 14 months, the defense of Artagerts was hailed a brilliant victory. Many chronicles have been written about Queen Paranzem. She was noted for being a brilliant diplomat and is remembered as a loyal and courageous leader who gave her life for her country and raised one of the most remarkable Armenian kings. Centuries have passed, and Armenian lands have endured more enemies. Castles and fortresses, cities and kingdoms were built and destroyed. Powerful kings were born, warrior queens took over the battlefield, yet Queen Paranzem stands out as the greatest among them, the Armenian warrior queen. During the years of Queen Milke Tamad and King Gagik Artsruni's reign, arts and crafts became the heart of Van Vaspurakan, and the peaceful independence period lasted over a century, making it possible for the Armenian nation to produce creations that withstood the test of time. Historical events were documented and preserved. Calligraphy and Armenian miniature illuminated manuscripts were mastered. Queen Milke was a lover of calligraphy, art, embroidery, and music. She was known for preserving Gospels and old Armenian books. Her collection is extremely valuable and is the oldest surviving Armenian illuminated Gospel manuscript at the Book Depository of the St. Lazarus Mechitarist Order in Venice. Queen Milke was wise to know that time may erase the names of kings and queens, but their deeds will live on for centuries. In honor of her husband, she commissioned the construction of Varag's Church of St. Mary, which stood strong until the Armenian genocide, serving as the symbol of devotion to her family. In the year 915, King Gagik honored Queen Milke by commissioning the world-famous architectural jewel known as the Church of the Holy Cross on Lake Van's island of Akhtamat, to pay homage to the outstanding role Queen Milke played in the development of the Van Vaspurakan kingdom. Queen Katranide was the daughter of King Vasak I and Queen Shahanducht II of Sunik. Born into a royal family, she became the Lady of Ani and played a key role in the realms of economics and construction. Legend has it that an angel of God appeared in front of Katranide and empowered her to complete the construction of the Cathedral of Ani, which had been paused following the death of her husband's late brother, King Sambat II. Embarking on this sacred task together with the famous Terdat the architect, Queen Katranide sold her dowry and spared no expense to complete the construction of the cathedral by the year 1001. According to historians, the Mother Cathedral was the most striking structure of the capital, with its lofty vaults and arches. In fact, architects and scholars believe that Gothic architecture originated from this 10th century church. The Katholike Holy Mother of God Cathedral of Ani served as the seat of the Catholicus for nearly half a century. Along with the entire site of Ani, it was declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2016. During the reign of Queen Zabel and King Ketum I, The spiritual and educational life in the Armenian kingdom of Cilicia flourished. Armenian scribes gave the gospel new meaning. Painters infused lifeless scrolls with brilliant colors, copying and saving many old manuscripts from oblivion. Since the country was at peace and its leaders were pious, the creative force of the Armenians gained new momentum. In 1219 Cilicia, King Leo the Magnificent designated that upon his death, his daughter Zabel be named heir to the throne. At just 4 years old, Zabel became queen and ruled the kingdom under the regency of her noble guardians, and went on to become one of the most powerful and famous queens in Armenian history. Queen Zabel continued what her father started by nurturing the education of her people and promoting literacy, art, and public health. Under her reign, many schools and monasteries were opened, and in 1241, she opened the first hospital in Cilicia, which was also the first public hospital in all of Europe. This was unusual, yet extraordinary in medieval world history, since the hospital was free of charge and tended to the poor. Setting aside her gown and jewels, she and her 8 children would personally help care for the sick. Queen Zabel reigned for 33 years and died at the young age of 37. Her death brought extreme sadness to her people, as she was said to be the light of the nation. Her bright mind, love for her people, and caring heart has been celebrated across the centuries, with January 22nd designated as the Queen's Day of Remembrance. Queen Caron ruled beside King Leo II, who was the son of Queen Zabel and her successor to the throne. Known for having the most children than any other Armenian queen, Queen Caron birthed 15 children, 5 of whom later became Armenian kings and were the only brothers who succeeded each other to the throne. Referred to as the most glorious queen, Queen Caron was loved by her people and known for her charitable work and patronage, which distinguished her as the philanthropic queen. Armenian manuscripts refer to Queen Caron as the patroness of arts and sciences and as someone who commissioned the writing of many manuscripts to keep historical events alive. In the year 1272, on the occasion of the coronation of King Leo II, Queen Caron commissioned a copy of a gospel which was destined to become one of Armenia's national treasures and was passed down through the ages as the Gospel of Queen Caron. All the Gospels and manuscripts commissioned by Queen Caron are considered masterpieces of medieval art and are kept in the library of the Armenian monastery of St. James in Jerusalem, as well as in the Matenadaran in Yerevan. Armenian queens honored goodness everywhere, and they wore kindness like a crown. Although they were robbed of their crowns, their jewels and treasures were plundered, their magnificent palaces and mighty walls were razed to the ground, the legacy of their good deeds continue to live on. The queen who was destined to bear the title of the last renowned queen of the Armenian kingdom was Lady Marion. Living through a politically challenging period in history contributed to the emergence of her political talent. She had extensive diplomatic experience and brilliant negotiation skills, which she inherited from her famous grandfather, Hetum the historian. Upon the death of her husband, King Constantine III, Queen Marion ruled the country alone. According to historians, the devastating loss of her two children further motivated her dedication to the throne and to her country. She embraced her role as ruler and had no qualms about doing what was necessary to reach her goals. She ruled until the succeeding king took the throne, but didn't stop there. Heading the Council of Elders dissatisfied with the king, Marion sought help from Pope Gregory XI, secretly negotiated with European rulers, bending them to her side, and after the assassination of the king, successfully restored her reign to power for another 15 months. In the year 1373, in the midst of political turmoil, and a decade after her first reign, Queen Marion ascended to the throne once again. This was an unprecedented event in the history of Cilicia, when a queen who was a widow of a king became regent or bearer of the crown. She was the guardian of Cilicia, a beloved queen of the country who had kept the throne unshakable for many years. Armenian queens have tremendous accomplishments under their royal belts and have set the foundation for future female leaders. Unfortunately, many other names of brave Armenian queens who ruled are unknown to us because they were captured, tortured, and killed as they courageously fought to protect their country. It is imperative to preserve this piece of history and recognize the exceptional accomplishments of Armenian women, and continue to celebrate them in the light of leadership, triumph, wisdom, and power. Their resilience has given them the strength to not only rule lands, but to overcome atrocities, maintain their mother tongue, and instill their heritage, culture, and customs in their children. Though for centuries the enemy destroyed their cities, churches, castles, cross stones, manuscripts, and gospels, the contributions and kind deeds of Armenian queens live on. They saw glory and they held power. Everyone bowed down to them, but they knelt only to the sacred land of their country. They lived not for the glory and power, but to pass on the land of Armenia to future generations. And we, your descendants, are enriched and inspired by you, our Armenian queens. And let your life be a mirror, a hopeful rebirth of the Armenian woman and the Armenian nation, our dear daughters of immortal Ararat.